Hey, hi, and hello. I am Charmaine, also known as Purpose Life Coach Char, and welcome to day 4 of 7 of me going live. Oh, let me fix this. Give me a second. Okay, there we go. So this week I've been talking about purpose, clarity, reconnecting with yourself, and putting yourself first. I'm really getting to the root of things that's been holding us back, right? Okay. And just as a reminder, I am a very transparent person. So when I speak, I do like to try to be as real and raw, but honest as possible. Um, my goal is never to be harsh or condescending in any way. I'm always wanting to come from a place of being genuine because at the end of the day, my goal is that we continue to grow and that we operate in our identity and in our purpose. So you will hear me say we because I'm in this process as well. It's not that I've arrived and made it. I still learn every single day. I just would love to be able to take others with me along the way, right? So I'm going to be on here for a few minutes and I'm going to talk a little bit about the process of it today. Um, so let me recap what we have been talking about. So the past 3 lives, if you haven't caught those, they are on YouTube at Purpose Life Coach Char, and you can go back and check those out because we talked about how we can get caught up in our roles, how we get caught up in our titles, and how we stop showing up for ourselves, and how we don't fully check in with ourselves, and how we overextend ourselves to everybody else, but we don't give that same energy back to us, right? So that's what we've been talking about for the past 3 days. But what I want to kind of go through tonight is transitioning into how to break some of that down. So the main thing is you got to understand it's one thing to feel something, right? But it's another thing to process it. And what we want to do is we want to feel it, but we want to make sure that we process it. So when you come and sit with me, I want you to make sure that you have your journal. The way I'm going to describe it tonight, you want to make sure that you have at least a couple of pages to be able to do this. Because how I'm going to show you how to break it down. That way you can go back and take your time and actually sit with it. Okay. So with page 1, what you want to do is you want to use that for everything that hits you. And I want you to remember this. The the saying goes, the faintest ink is better than the strongest memory. So that's why I want you to be able to make sure that you have your journals with you, because you might think that, okay, well, I'm gonna remember this. Now I come back and write that. Oh, I really need to write it. I think about this. And by the time we're done here and somebody probably calls you or something else, you're not going to actually remember exactly what it was that you wanted to think about, or what it is that you wanted to work on or process. So it's best just to be able to write it down while, like, right now in the moment, soon as you get that thought in your mind, right? So this way you won't forget. And I want you to know. So when you write it down, here's what you're gonna do. When you on page 1, you're gonna write down your thoughts of what was just said, your feelings, any light bulb moments, you know. You don't want to filter it. You don't want to overthink it. Honestly, just write it down. Be like, if it hits you in some type of way and you honestly, and you feel it, write it down. Okay. That's what you're going to do on page 1. You're just going to write it. So if it's something is said, be like, ooh, write it down. Okay. On page 2, what you're going to start doing is you're going to start processing it. And what I mean by that is you're going to go back to page 1. You're going to pick one thing. Okay. One thing that stood out. And now this is where the work comes in. Because what I want you to do, you can use your phone. You can use your the stopwatch on your phone. You can go and go get a kitchen timer. Just get a timer, set it for 10 to 15 minutes. And you're going to pick that one piece and you're going to set it for 10 minutes and you're going to sit with it. That's all you're going to do. You're going to sit with it. And you're going to start asking yourself some of these questions. Okay? What feeling am I having? Why do I feel this way? What triggered this feeling? What is connected to this? And have I felt this before? Because you can't process something if you're not willing to acknowledge it. And when I say what triggered this, I mean, sometimes it's a word. Sometimes it might be a feeling. It might trigger an emotion. What is that word? What triggered it? Okay. So you want to be able to make sure you can connect it to something. This means so that we can get to the root of the issue. That's what these questions are going to help us do. Get to the root of the issue and help us face what we're seeing in the mirror. Because sometimes we don't want to face the reflection that we see. Because we're so used to being covered up by the mask or being covered up by the titles that we carry that we don't want to face who we see in the mirror. But that's who we need to see, who it is that we're seeing in the mirror, because that's who needs the healing. That's who needs the encouragement. That's who needs to take care of themselves so they can really identify with who they are and truly operate in their purpose. Because most of the times what we end up doing is we sweep everything under the rug. And we've done that. I mean, I know back in my time, we would the saying was sweep on your own front door before sweep on somebody else's. But we cover so much up that when somebody comes along, what happens is they start kicking that dust up, right? They kick that dust up and we're trying to figure out where did these emotions and where did these feelings come from? Because we didn't even get to the root of the issue. So we can't be upset with somebody else that might have triggered something in us because we never dealt with it. But that's what we're trying to do now. We're trying to deal with it. That's what we're going to begin to do, okay? So what you're going to do on page 3, that's your now what section, okay? Now comes the part we don't always like, right? Now, what do I do with this? Now that I've acknowledged it, what do I do with it? First, you have to be honest with yourself. Then ask yourself, who do I need to forgive? Now, this can be, do I ever need to forgive Sally, Joe, and Jim? Or do I need to forgive myself? Because a lot of the times, that's where we get stuck. We say we forgive others, but we truly never forgive ourselves. So how can we honestly say that we forgave someone if we're still holding on to it for ourselves and we can't forgive us? Okay. So how can you forgive if you're still holding on, right? Then think, what do I need to do to change? Because there does need to be an action behind it. There is something that you can do to change it. First, you're acknowledging it. Forgive yourself, then go and forgive others. So it is some action behind the work. Because, like I said before, feeling it is one thing, but processing it is a whole nother process. That's completely something else. That's beginning to do the inner work. That's beginning to get to the root of the issues, right? Because a lot of us feel a lot of things. We have a lot of emotions, right? But sometimes we don't sit in it long enough to understand it. And that's where the issues come into play. That's where resentment starts to set in. That's where jealousy comes in. That's where unforgiveness sets in. That's when we start to have anxiety and we start to stress. All of that is connected because we haven't released what it is that we need to release. Our body is holding on to things. So, what I want you to do today, I don't want you to I don't want you to just listen. I want you to do the work. I want you to grab a journal, give yourself 10 to 15 minutes. So while you're doing that, hey, light a candle, turn on some instrumental music, grab your favorite drink, a coffee, a tea, and just be in the moment. Remember, the key is to acknowledge it and sit with it. You don't have to do everything at one time. I'm not even asking you to do everything at one time because if something hits you right out of that list, pick one thing, just one. And then you can always go back and check on the others. You can always go back and process that at your own pace at another time. But we want to deal with one issue at a time. We don't want to overwhelm ourselves because when you begin to overwhelm yourself, you're not going to get anything done. You're still going to be in the same place. You're not going to fully be able to process it. And then I want you to start writing. Just start letting it release. All the feelings, all the emotions, all the thoughts that are just coming at you, and just write it down. Release it. It ain't got to be in story form. It's just your thoughts. Nobody else is going to look at it. It's you. It's just you and a piece of paper. Okay? So come sit with me again tomorrow. Make sure you bring your journal. Hey, even invite a friend. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're comfortable enough, okay, leave a comment because you never know how your comment can affect someone else. You never know who might need your comment. It could be a light bulb moment for me. Because that's the whole purpose of this, for us to keep going even deeper. Because at the end of the day, we want to be able to operate in our identity, to be able to fully operate in our purpose. Because somebody is connected to you. Somebody needs to know what it is that hear the story that you have to share. They're just waiting for you to show up. But in order to do that, sometimes we need to heal in some areas before we can go and share a story. They need to see the transformation taking place. Sometimes we have to lead by example. And it's okay to be able to bring others with us along the way. We don't have to have it all together to do that. But we have to be able to start. So, at the end of the day, we're all here to grow. We're all here to go to the next level because we all have a purpose and we all have a destiny. So until next time, I'm Purpose Life Coach Shar. And remember that serenity is more than peace of mind. It is peace with an inner self. Oh, why am I having